Hey, what's good, people? This is Sports Debate Tuesday. That's my dude, Rob McLean. This is episode 75, Mr. Keep It McLean. Isn't that cool?
Yes, sir.
Rhetorical question. You know, the episode starts right now. That smile on that man's face probably says he's got his significant other in the room, and who can blame him? Ladies and gentlemen, that is Rob. Say it with me, people. Keep it McLean. I am Jason DeBias. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. This is episode 75. What's good, man?
What's happening?
I'm still nice with my cook game. Look, man, it's a hood thing.
From Brooklyn.
That's why I'm lived in Brooklyn. Hi, Lang and Lynn. I don't even know. I mean, that's what's up, man. That's that G Unit stuff, I guess. Hey, a lot to talk about. We got big UFC coming up this week. We want to probably talk about a top heavy main event house show last week with Costa and Vettori. To shame or not shame, we direct our energies to the Chicago Bears, and you guys will have to wait on that one. But first things first, we go to the NBA. I mean, on a side note, wasn't that a great Knicks game last week?
Yes, sir.
How about see how my ADD is? See how like my attention span just veered away from subject? Yo, great win against the Celtics, and of course they threw up a donkey nerd over the weekend. But all right, let's go to the Brooklyn Nets. They won last night. They lost the night before, but that's not what everybody's talking about. They're talking about Kyrie Irving. Brooklyn Nets superstar Kyrie Irving still refuses to be vaccinated. With the NBA having a mandate that all players must be vaccinated, Irving has been benched by the league until he complies. With Irving doubling down on his stance, the question, Rob McLean, is this a problem for his team, or is this setting an example?
So it's both, and unfortunately, when you're in a business situation, the business owner makes decisions like this, you have to kind of fall in line or find a new job. And unfortunately, at a professional basketball level, a new job is, pro in Europe or pro in Australia that doesn't pay the amount of money that is getting paid in the NBA. So yeah. When it comes down to it, you can try to set an example if you want, but I mean, let's look at his team. His team is not performing very well. They even last year when Kyrie wasn't playing, James Harden wasn't playing at a certain time. They only had two of the big three. Mm-hmm. They were a beatable team. They were an average team. So it's not even the fact that, he is one of the better players in the league. He has one of the biggest contracts in the league. But the problem is that they created a team that's based on the three. Him and Kevin Durant before Harden, but around he being there and being a stalwart to that team. So you can call it setting an example all you want, but they brought him there to play basketball, and he should play basketball. Now, when you're talking about setting an example, doing a personal decision, that's fine, but that personal decision is now affecting the team that you signed a contract to play with. So honestly, I think it should just be one or two things. Like they should just let him go, let him sign somewhere else.
That ain't gonna happen. But go ahead.
Of course it's not. Of course it's not.
Right.
But it's not going to change anytime soon. I mean, they're not going to give him an exemption to have a vaccine. It's just going to play out more and more, and all that pressure is going to go to his teammates. Right. So as much as he could be trying to set an example, which he does try to do with a lot of things, he's still creating a problem for his teammates and his team and that organization. So you can call it what it is, but the facts are there in front of you. Like he's there to win basketball games. They're not winning. They're 50-50. They're there. They're here. They're there. But most part of it is, he's just not on the floor. So that's what we're here talking about. If you want to talk about personal decisions,
right? Yeah.
Get out of the privately owned basketball teams that you work for. It's just that's the way this world works right now.
All right, Rob. Keep it. McLean. We both know, we've had conversations off camera, that this man marches to the beat of his own drum. All right, this is the guy who was talking about the Earth being flat, like on a serious level. We all thought he was kidding, and it almost makes anyone that's ever been a Duke fan think their lucky stars that he might not actually have a degree from there. He only played one
He's
year, right?
not
So,
a Duke. He's played 7 games there, and he is no
thank
Dookie.
you.
No, sir.
And Duke is like, we're good. We're supposed to produce smart kids. This guy's like flat earthing. So, if you've seen the way he navigates inside the sport, he definitely has his own way of doing things, and because coaches, GMs, owners have let him do his own thing, he has produced. It's one of those things like, hey, I'm a professional. I'd expect to be treated like an adult, and thus far, all the way up to this point, he's always had his way, and for the most part, he's always come through on his end, right? Like if you let someone have your way, you want to see some food on your plate, right? You want to see some production because you're not going to let nobody do whatever they want and they ain't doing nothing, right? It's like, it's weird. It's like having a new Mac, right? The new Mac is like a girlfriend you can't have fun with, right? It's like, I like to sing karaoke, nah. But all right, so let's talk about Kyrie the person. Kyrie makes decisions. A lot of people think that are selfish, but I think that he's thinking of the bigger scope of things. I think that he acknowledges there's a general mistrust with this whole vaccine thing. And now that I said the word vaccine, everywhere we tag this video on YouTube or here, they're gonna label this a vaccine episode when it's a sports episode. You dorks, you fucking idiots. But now that I said it, there has been a decades-long mistrust between the African American community and the government, right? So if the government tells you this vaccine is perfectly safe, and there's a general mistrust in how the government has treated you the last few years, of course you're not just going to jump on it and say the vaccine's safe, right? So Kyrie, in his heart of hearts, knows that there's a huge population of people that are not completely one way or the other, right? And in our society, Rob, you have a group of people that say there's no side effects, there's only 6, and it's perfectly safe. And on the other side, you think you see a group of people saying, "Oh, if they inject that, they're going to inject a chip in me so aliens can follow me." All right, somewhere in the middle of all that is a population of people that are doing some research on DNA and RNA, and there's a large population of people that are like the last 2 years. I'm hearing 8 different stories about this coronavirus, right? You have the leading medical guy saying you shouldn't wear a mask. 2 months later, he's saying you should wear a mask. And then a few months later, Operation Warp Speed, let's get the vaccine. And then they say, well, if you get the vaccine, you don't have to wear the mask. And then after you get the vaccine, they say, you don't only have to wear the mask, you should wear 2 masks. You should wear 3 masks, all right? And then after that, now you have to have a booster. And now there's a Delta, and now there's a variant. And everybody's just scared to shit. So I think his way, him doing what he's doing is hitting a huge pause button where he's hoping that people can just have dialogue, because right now there's labels, there's anti-vax people, which is bullshit. There are people that don't have the vaccine who knows that polio is a real thing, that knows that the mumps and the measles are a real thing, and they've been vaccinated and they vaccinate their kids. This is different. This is different. And Kyrie, back to sports, this is Kyrie's way of saying this is different. And I'm not going to get the vaccine. Now, with that being said, it's the NBA. No work, no check, right? He has the luxury of doing that because he's part of the not minuscule percentage of players that can sit out years, and he's got generational wealth like LeBron James, and he does not care. The majority of the NBA, more than 50%, is more money, more problems. So they got big bills. So if they're missing games, they're missing money, which is why you saw Andrew Wiggins be like, I got to get the shot because I'm working on generational wealth for my family. So is it a problem? I think I co-signed. I went on a long spiel only to come back at the end to say I agree with you on a debate show. It is a problem, but he's also I don't know if the word setting an example is the right way to say it, Rob. But I think he's doing this to inspire dialogue, and he felt like if he doesn't do this, everybody's just gonna go one way, and anyone that doesn't is gonna get shamed for it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest thing when you talk about having true, honest conversations about this. And I don't want to go too far in this because it's getting away from sports.
That's because that's a whole other episode, right? We can do that on the Option podcast. Sorry, go ahead.
Speaking semantics, when you're having a true dialogue and then you bring up some abstract side theory that has to now be proven or disproven, but this is what I heard. This is, ear to ear. It's matter of fact.
Yeah.
And it's very hard, to have concrete forward decisions, forward thinking decisions because conversations, because it's very, very hard to just get through a conversation with somebody.
Yeah.
Or to oblige and say, okay, well, that's how you feel. Let's go through that situation together, but again,
like men and women,
like human beings.
Yes.
Because again, we're getting away from sports, but us human beings kind of have to, get together and do something of purpose. That's why I love sports and all, but at the end of the day, it's for entertainment, But
keeping it about sports, how about this? How about people stop putting other people in this false dichotomy? You trust the professionals, or you're just an idiot, right? Like, think of how about Alex Smith? This is off topic, but it's back on. He had this gruesome injury where the first doctors he saw are saying that it's so gruesome and it's so infected, they got to give his leg the chop. All right. Those are medical professionals. Those are the people that do this for a living. Those are the ones that are saying, hey, take my word for it based on the science, right? He gets a second opinion. They save his leg. If he followed the first people, what happens? He's walking around in a wheelchair, or he got a fake leg on, and this and that, right? So I just want, like you said, I just want people to have an open mind and not on the science. We all trust the science, which we're talking about the scientists, and we're talking about the science collected, where the layman to the media, the intermediate, all the way to the professional should all get together and stop being so haughty. You know what I'm saying? Which is how Kyrie Irving comes off a little bit. He comes off haughty on this, but I guess my argument is compared to who? Right? Howdy compared to who? Right? Who's the humble one in this equation? We can't find one. Can you find one? No. Right. So yeah. So. Dumb question, and we're getting through that. We're trying to cut under an hour, and I already think I went too far. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this dude has a lot to say about everything, and I'd love to have him. I'm trying to honey dick him into coming on my podcast because he was my very first episode, and I know you came back on episode like in the teens, and that was a fun conversation. So that's the NBA. We're gonna revisit the NBA amongst a slew of other sports, but this subject matter we consider closed until further notice. Let's go to topic 2. We got the NFL. We got the NFL Pick 6. There were a lot of fun games we could talk about during the Pick 6. All right. I mean, for me, no Buffalo Bills to watch, no Dallas Cowboys to hate. It was kind of a boring weekend, even though your G-men
killed it,
didn't they? Didn't you have a vision of what they could look like if they did everything right, which is 5
pressure. Sacks, 9 tackles for a loss. That's all I want.
Yes, how about that?
I'll take that.
And Daniel Jones, use your legs, don't turn over the ball. That's Giants football. Yeah,
and I think it all day.
I think they can go a long way with that. I just don't. I mean, we need some
injuries,
consistency. Man. Yeah, injuries. Yeah, Saquon Barkley, like every chance he gets, they haven't had a decent wide out one. Tackle.
We had no left tackle. We had no running back. We had no right out 1. We had no wide out 3 or number 2. Mm-hmm. So the fact that we even came out and scored 25 points is very impressive.
Yeah, left tackle is important, dude. It's just left tackle is a real freaking thing, my man. My voice is deep because I sang karaoke last night, and I tried to sing some Drake. Yeah, late night when you need my love. I tried to hit that low note, love. So pick 6. He's like, Jay, pick 6. It's been a rough morning for us, right? Come on, we're here, dude. We're here. Yeah. You gotta go. Pick 6. Let's go Packers at the Cards. Rob.
Oh man.
Who do you got? Tough pick. Given Devontae
just from
Adams.
All the information that I heard, Packers defensive coordinators got COVID, and you have Devontae Adams out, so I'll probably go with the Cardinals on this one.
I think I was going to go to the Cardinals, but to tell you the truth, I don't even think it matters if Devontae Adams is there. Devontae Adams and missing a wide receiver has never been the Packers' problem. Aaron Rodgers can throw to you or me off the bench. He can call someone that he just did the Lambeau leap and hit some bullets. Though Devontae does make him look good on some of those errant and poor throws. All right, they're
I'm
good.
just saying he wasn't complaining about getting anything else but a wide receiver his whole career. So
well. Their
can make it
defense,
work,
but their defense is going to be the issue. They don't have an answer for Kyler Murray, and I pick Kyler Murray just as much as I would pick Aaron Rodgers in the shootout.
The problem is that Kyler Murray has been getting sacked a little bit too much this season.
Yeah.
So that offensive line's got to pick it up just a tad.
Yeah. How do you think how do you think they've been protecting Aaron? I thought he's gotten decent
really
protection,
well.
right? Yeah.
Really well.
Yeah.
Really well. It's funny this year. There's been like either trash lines or really, really strong offensive lines. So it's good to see. I really enjoy watching good offensive and defensive line play. Actually watch football.
Dude, left tackle's a real thing, man. Having a good left tackle, that's a real thing in the NFL, right? We all saw the blind side. We all know the importance of that position. So we both picked the Cards on that one. Especially with Devontae Adams. I'm just upset because if the Cardinals win, or should I say when they win, I don't want to hear that excuse bullshit. If we had Devontae, we would have won. It always leaves those. I hate how those injuries always leave a question on a matchup we were all licking our chops for. This is Thursday night game, man. So, let's go pick 6, game 2. This is Steelers at Browns. I'll go first on this one. Baker Mayfield's a little bit banged up. They don't have Chubb. They are overtrained, they are hurting, and still good enough to whoop Pittsburgh's ass. I picked the Browns.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one. I think that they're a team that could really just lean on their defense, and if Ben just doesn't turn over the ball, it should be all right. But I'm going to go with the Steelers on this one, trusting their defense.
Nice. Let's go game 3. This one, you go first. We have the Eagles, who find their way into our pick 6 every week. They face
legit.
I was going to call them the hapless Lions, but no.
Hey, Lions look good last week.
They're the best 0-7 team I've ever seen.
How
many of these games they lost by a field goal or at the very end? Like, we can pick 3 of those 7 games, right?
At least, yeah.
Yeah. What do you go first? Who do you got? Is this does someone's have to go this week? Come on, my man.
I really like the Eagles. I really think what they're doing there is solid. So I'm probably going to pick them this week. I wish the best for Detroit, but I just don't see. I think that was the best we're going to see of Goff all season, and it's going to be downhill from here. So.
Well, I'm sad as the Lions continue to lose that Campbell's the one that has to fall on this sword, and I think that's a shame.
Yeah.
They didn't give him a lot of tools in the toolbox, and he's taken everything he's gotten to compete and to play to the maximum of their potential. And that's not enough for the fans and for the media. You know what? Tough shit. But this week I think it's enough. I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I think they keep hitting the head against the wall until that wall cracks. Let's go game 4. We have the Patriots, New England Patriots, who looked really good against the Jets last week. Who doesn't? And they are visiting the Chargers. I'll go first on this one. I love Justin Herbert, and it's gotten me to pay attention to the Chargers more, where I stopped calling them the San Diego Chargers. They're now the LA Chargers, and they're showing people there's more than one team in LA. And as far as quarterbacks go, I put them against Stafford any day of the week and twice on Sunday. This one, I'm going to go with the Patriots, though.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the Chargers team. Pretty much, wide receivers missing balls, Justin Herbert just not in flow, not in rhythm. And there is a thing called the sophomore slump. And I'm not trying to say that Herbert's not that guy or a bust,
right?
But I think he needs a little bit more. Like the things that they started to see in the draft are starting to come out a little bit more. He's a little bit more introverted. He's not trying to get people involved. He's just trying to do his job, which as a quarterback, it's not the greatest route to take. You got to rile people up. You got to get in their face and hold them accountable. And, he's just not that guy, which is okay. But that coaching staff's got to step up. You got a young coach there now. I don't know. I just feel like the wheels are kind of falling off a little bit for the Chargers. But, I'm going to probably just have to go against the Chargers this week. So
you got the Patriots too?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
like that
it's
defense,
too
man.
bad. It's too bad they lost that Cowboys game. Sometimes you have some of these
Right.
early games, and it defines how the rest of your season's going to go. Like they were an illegal procedure penalty and a forward progress stop, which I thought was a bullshit call from actually winning that game. I mean, or possibly winning that game. They were
Right.
there, and in a red zone, I think they do exceptionally well, or just as well as anybody else. So, but Bill Belichick right now knows he has to put his coaching hat back on. He knows the walls are swelling. Like, is this guy still the man? And he's like, I'll show you. And he's really, let me tell you
Mac
something. Even
Jones is
that
for
Tampa
real.
Bay game, that was I mean, in many ways, that felt like a win to everyone except Belichick, who's only about, from that Bill
Them
Parcells school. You
W's.
are what, yeah, he's from that Bill Parcells school. You are what your record says you are. So,
That's right.
and I'm that guy too. So, I mean, that's why I don't have a lot of friends. Um, let's go. Yeah, you got. I mean, I'm too honest with people. Let's go game 5. This is the Tampa Bay Bucks visiting the Saints. This one, you go first. New Orleans Saints. How did Winston look last night?
Bucks.
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 And the story on that one. Yeah.
Tom Brady. Bucks.
Even if they had Drew Brees, I picked the Bucks. Drew Brees. James Winston's not Drew Brees. Goodbye. I go Bucks. Game 6. This one I go first. You have our Dallas Cowboys visiting the Minnesota Vikings. The Cowboys, just like I talked about the Chargers having wins and losses that kind of define the rest or their momentum going to the whatever, the Cowboys have been the recipient of that momentum. And I'm actually happy to report that they used it. I mean, again, I don't dislike this team as much as I dislike them. They're a annoying, nauseating fan base. All right, what's not to like about Dak Prescott? What's not to like about CeeDee Lamb? What's not to like about Diggs? Who's my defensive player of the year on all levels, front and the linebacker or whatever. As total in a total body of work, that's my defensive player of the year. That Captain Obvious. So yeah, man, I don't think a Cousins is gonna do this. I don't think an Uncle Drew's gonna do this. I don't think my intelligent grandfather's gonna do this, and I don't think my senile grandma who thinks streetlights are aliens and starts shooting at them is gonna beat the Cowboys. No one's gonna beat the Cowboys. Certainly not the Vikings. I got the Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, I just think it's Vikings defense might shut down Dak and them just a little bit. It's getting cold. They going to Minnesota, could be different, but at the end of the day, I don't see the Vikings offense doing anything really on the Dallas defense.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins is their most important player on there, and you got a guy that's going to be able to shut down the slot most of the times. You just throw a guy over the top of Jefferson and just keep him underneath and give him 87 yards for the day.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really think that's just their play, and the Dallas is going to bend not break and just put up a ton of points, maybe 28, 30, 35, something like that, and call it a game.
Well, I think the secret of the success is what the fans and the Cowboys critics have always been saying the entire time. You gotta give Zeke 25 carries. I mean, you don't just give him 10 and then abandon it because he doesn't get yards in the beginning. I think that guy's set up for the long game, Rob. I think the most ignored thing is that this man's almost all of these wins. Flying under the radar, quietly rushing for 100 yards plus has been Ezekiel, Ohio State's favorite son, Ezekiel Elliott. So,
Yeah, I mean, Pollard's been doing great with a change of pace. I just think it's that he's getting, and this is rightful.
Mm-hmm.
People can say this: the amount of money he got paid does not make him a 2-down back. It doesn't make him. You have to be a 3-down back if you're going to be a top paid player in the league. So I think that's more where he's way overvalued. It's not that his skill doesn't match up. It's that he wasn't doing it when they needed it. He's doing it when they're doing well, right? So what happens when shit hits the fan? That's the problem for me. We need to lean on Dak today to get us 140 yards as opposed to, Zeke to get us 140 yards as opposed to, Dak's killing it. Yeah. Let's change the pace up by giving Zeke the ball, 25 times a game. That's a big difference, So
huge.
That's where I'm saying, the critics are totally within their bounds to say that he's not worth the money he's gotten. But, you can't deny the skill. And, Pollard's right there with him, though. And that just makes you to look at, hey, maybe he could put up 200 in a game, but also look at that offensive line. Look at the pressure they're
Super Bowl champions are built like that, right? Do you remember the
right?
Giants had
There's
3
six
of
in the
them?
box,
The
7 in the
Giants, remember the
box.
Giants had 3. They're affectionately
Yeah,
referred to as Earth,
yeah,
Wind, and Fire. Jacobs,
yeah.
Ward, and God, I wish Bradshaw
Ward, Bradshaw,
and
and
Jacobs.
Jacobs.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. Isn't that a great name? And I mean, look, the Cowboys are doing really, really good. And the reason why I even watch them is because I might, yeah, it's one of Dak Prescott makes me want to put a star on my hat. On my hat. Look, say whatever you want about the Cowboys, but before Josh Allen came, I wanted Dak Prescott to play for the Buffalo Bills. Okay, any team right now that doesn't have a quarterback, the Jets, the Panthers would love to have. Any team would. The Patriots, Bill Belichick would love to have him. So definitely, it's a lot of pressure on Mike McCarthy because he who wants to be a bad mechanic in this room full of Ferraris. So, okay, before we move on to mixed martial arts, I wanted to talk about Tampa Bay. Actually, I'll do that at the end. That'll be my shout out. I really like what Tom Brady and the Bucs organization did for that fan boy. Let's talk about that later, because that deserves its own subject matter. All right, that's the end of the pick six. Sean Ladig last week, my man, our Raging Cajun, decided to take the challenge to beat the host, and the real losers are the fans who watched us pick last week. All 3 of us finished 3-3. They were just, but come on, who expected the Bengals to win?
By that much.
Yeah, pleasantly surprised.
That was a blowout.
Pleasantly surprised, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I like that. It's good.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Burrow's our guy, man. We've been Burrow guys from the beginning, right? Since his rookie year. So guess what? We were there. We were there before he blew this up. All right, so we have UFC 267 coming up, and like we said this before the podcast, this card is savage from top to bottom. I mean, and between now and November, I feel like I'm going to be ingratiated in the world of mixed martial arts, particularly the UFC, but also Bellator. Fedor's fighting, and you got some exciting matches coming up on Showtime as well. So I'm a purist like that. So, but before we get to UFC 67, we got some laundry to clean up. Let's talk about last week, which is the main event. Top heavy. It was Costa versus Vettori. Costa is like the number 2 ranked guy. Vettori's like number 5. Both of them have something in common. They both had a shot at Israel Adesanya, and what they also have in common is Adesanya beat both their asses. In fact, I mean, Costa basically got pantsed. Okay, and Vettori just got really dominated for 5 rounds, which is a testament to his chin, which something else you and I were talking about. So, Rob, the question. And this might be a both thing too. Disappointed in Costa? If you had to pick one, are you more disappointed in Costa's performance, Paolo Costa, or are you impressed with Vettori?
Well, if I have to pick one, because for me it's disappointment in both.
Yeah, it's always a little.
Honestly, because it was and this fight particularly because there was not a lot of skillful moving. It seemed like they were both fighting at 205 when they were training for 185. They were both tired. They were both kind of, lagging in the latter rounds. Not a lot of, heat on their punches. And then when they did have heat on their punches, it was very telegraphed. It was a very boring low level fight. And that's why I have to agree with almost Israel Adesanya, who reacted to the fight saying, well, what the heck did we just watch? Because that was a heavyweight fight without the heavyweight power. Yeah. There's just 2 people trying to swing at each other and kick each other. Nothing happening. So, honestly, that's really surprising to me. They're both number 2 and number 5 because maybe that division's a little thin. But man, I don't think either one of them are even remotely even close to the level of Adesanya. They're both going to get clowned again, and they're going to take some dips in the ranking. Even if Costa's even allowed back in the 185. After the performance they just pulled.
Yeah.
Dana White said he's not going to allow him back in the 185. So we're going to see about that. It's going to be very interesting.
I mean, did you see him at the weigh-in at 205? Where the F does he lose this in the weight in the first place? Where the hell is he cut in the first place?
Yeah, I don't know. And and I'm not trying to say you need definition or whatnot, but when you start to cut over time, you start to have, definition to you. Mm-hmm. He was roly-poly-oly.
Yeah.
So that's where people were saying it's not even about that he's out of shape, but he's breathing heavy in the first round, first through 4th round, 5th round, everybody's breathing heavy, but he's breathing heavy, his jaw's down to his chest. And you have when he's kicking, super telegraph. It was not a great performance by, if I have to choose, by Costa. And I was even less impressed with Vettori because he didn't finish him. He had him in tough situations.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much level changing. There was just, let me bowl forward. And he did nothing with that. He didn't execute. He really didn't put Costa in any type of trouble. Yeah, really boring fight, unfortunately.
I'm the other way around. I didn't find the fight boring because they were hitting each other with some hard shots that backed each other up and this and that. And somewhere in the end there was a little bit of a staring contest, and the reason why all's well that ends well as far as boring is concerned is because the fifth round, it's like you both had a chance to just get in and show the judges who won it and this and that. But I thought Vettori thought he was ahead in the scorecards, wanted to play it safe. He has a title in his mind. He's got maybe a future title in on the horizon, which Adesanya might just be like, say bye to both of them. But if I had to pick one, like you said, the truth is in the middle. As it a question of which side of the middle is the truth on this one, I would say Paulo Costa. First of all, this guy had all this time to prepare for this. Okay, he reports that he's not going to come in and make 185. So then they do another contract. They're like, guys, hey, let's make it 195. And a day and a half before the actual weigh-ins, I get a better idea. Let's just make it 205. So this is a guy who, in my opinion, I don't know if he's injured during his training camp, but it didn't really look like he had intention of cutting weight to begin with. All right. And it's very, very unprofessional. It's one of the things that pisses me off more than anything else. Because in the big scheme of things, no matter how much time you spend training outside or inside that sport, you really have two jobs. One is to make weight, and the other one's to show up the next day. Those are your two objectives. If those two things don't happen, the fight's not off. And you and I, we talked about this last week and possibly the week before. There's two reasons why I don't like it. One, if you look at the win-loss record of the last 25 fights, and I did a little research, and I'm tight on the numbers, not that tight on the numbers, but my numbers say the last 25 fights, the person that missed the weight won 21 of those 25 fights. So they lose a percentage of their purse, but they get to move up in the rankings, and they frog leap that person because the only thing anyone remembers in this cold world, Rob, is did you win or did you not win? Like when Romero knocked out Rockhold, they don't remember Romero missed weight. They just remember Rockhold getting starched and Romero like kissing him, saying it's okay, and Rockhold's just like, don't talk to me, But yeah, very, very big disappointment. And here's the second reason. And this one, I'll give you the floor back. I don't like that it's up to the fighter to decide to take this fight or not. I don't, because fighters in this testosterone-filled combat sport, they think the whole notion of them not taking the fight and someone thinking that they're a wuss for not taking the fight. Oh, he's a chicken. He didn't want to take the fight. You shouldn't leave that into the fighter's hands. The fighter's always going to say yes. And the last person that said no, Leslie Smith, got cut by the UFC. So it sends a bad message. I think the athletic commission should be like, no, fight's off. You can't make weight. If they take over, and we both know the athletic commission has no problem playing the bad guy in various situations, and this should be no different.
I don't think it's going to be beneficial to the fighters if, let's say, the main card or one of the 2-3 main fights in a card is going to be canceled because somebody doesn't make weight. Now, because that just takes away from the draw from all the other fights. Now, if you say, if you miss weight, you cannot win this fight. If you win this fight, it's a no contest. Mm-hmm. If you lose the fight, it's a loss, but you're putting all the risk involved in the fight as opposed to let's just make it about money. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, those person's family have to eat too. You know what I mean? That person makes a crap decision for their family, but that shouldn't mean his family should pay necessarily. Because they have to go through all this.
But
stuff.
What about the family of the person that did make weight? That percentages say that they're going to lose that fight.
Sure, but again, you're not going to get hurt in your rankings if it doesn't actually hurt. And this is why I'm like, they do that for the championship fights already. So why aren't they doing it for all the other fights? Mm. I think it's just a lack of updating the rules. Honestly, it's just all right. Well, we're just going to keep going until somebody says something.
Don't you think forfeiting the purse also hurts someone's family too? I mean, as far as punishments are concerned,
forfeiting 30%.
Right.
So at least you're getting something. That's what I'm saying is those
Okay.
families have to at least get paid back what they've put
Right.
in to get there,
And
whether or not
the
they're going to
coaches,
make
yeah.
the fight or whatnot,
Yeah.
because it's 4 months, 3 months worth of preparation for a fight. And now just because of that mistake, and it is a mistake, whether you subconsciously do it or not, that person still has to go through that work, paying the gyms, paying the people, putting food on the plate.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff, so.
How do you feel about
I don't-
same day weigh-ins so people stop cutting down?
Same day weigh-ins? What do you mean by that?
Instead of weigh-ins 24 hours before the match? Do you think same day weigh-ins would help people maybe deter people from doing this sauna shit? I mean, wrestlers are going to do it anyway. The problem is wrestlers, they're going to do it anyway because in college wrestling, they're same day weigh-ins anyway, and they cut the water
because they're conditioned to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So should they? I don't. That's a big change, and I think that would actually hurt a lot of health of a lot of players at the moment. I think what they should do is they should maybe have more strategic. Like if you're not down to a certain weight, a certain weeks before the fight, it's going to be unhealthy for you to cut a certain amount of weight in that time period.
Yeah.
And if you have certain people that have the exemptions, I'll take that risk. Okay, sure, go ahead. But I think there should be a weigh-in maybe a week before the fight to see a check-in, a medical check-in, and a weigh-in a week before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight,
right,
and then leading up, because that's how you invest in the product to make sure it comes out.
No, it makes
that's what I would think.
No, it makes complete sense. I'm down, totally down with that. So, all right. With that being said, before we get to shame or not to shame, let's go through our pick six. We're gonna do the six main card fights for UFC 267. Let's go light heavyweight. Let's start from bottom to top. We got Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Ozdemir. That's a good one. Oh my God, Magomed is a savage. I'll go first on this one. Mm-hmm. Volkan hits hard, but Magomed is a more complete fighter, and I think for a lot of people that did not get to see this young man fight, I think he's also a Dagestani fighter. Look out for this guy. Pick him.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ozdemir, man, but I think everybody, they know how to game plan for him, mm-hmm. Take on that first 10, 15, 20 seconds of just absolute craziness that he brings to you each round. And then after that, he's, like you said, his overall martial art ability is going to break down, whether it's getting to the ground, whether it's just playing, being close and keeping the distance. But I'd definitely go with Ankalaev here.
Great. We got a welterweight bout. This is really, really good. That guy Lee isn't Lee awesome? Yo, isn't Kamzat? Yo, this is
gonna be real. This is gonna be real. That's what I'm saying.
Who's the winner, man?
Fifth fight on the card.
Yes. Who's the winner here besides the fans, dude? You got to go first. This is yours. You got to go first.
I honestly believe in my heart of hearts that Kazmat is going to get absolutely starched, but I will never bet against the wrestler. So I'm going to have to go with Kazmat on this one, and then I'll eat my words if Lee pieces him up.
Me too. You got Magomed for the first one too, you said?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to match 4. Alexander Volkov, Marcin Tybura. Marcin Tybura is, man, he's got a strong chin, and he's a more complete fighter than Alexander Volkov, but there's something to be said about having that Drago type range when you're fighting Rocky. Only in the movie will Rocky win that match. In real life, Drago wins that match, and I'm giving Alexander Volkov the nod on this one.
Stealing all my picks. I don't know if I can convince myself away from that,
Don't get honey dick because I went the other way. Come on, Rob.
He's just, I think Volkov is just too solid, all around. Yeah. I don't think he's going to allow Tybura to take him down very easily. He's too big and long. He's just a very awkward fighter. So I'm going to have to probably go with Volkov on this one.
Yeah, I certainly do not blame you, my man. Let's go to the countdown is 3. Talk about guys who take fights, man. Dan Hooker is a stud, man. Hooker, you want to talk about the lineup of fighters Hooker's had like the last 2 years? This man's lineup of fighters only equals Rafael dos Anjos, okay? And boy, does he have another big one here. You got to go Islam Makhachev against Dan Hooker. You go first, Rob.
Not Dan Hooker.
No. Makhachev is
Islam.
someone, the guy, very much like Khabib, has been trying to get fights, and the rumorville says he's having a hard time getting fights because a lot of people don't want to fight him. He's very much like Khabib Nurmagomedov, except his hands, like Khabib's hands were good at the end. You know, he started working on his hands more at the end. This guy's hands are good now. He's in more ways he's more complete than Khabib, though I think Khabib is stronger and Khabib's the GOAT. But I gotta
Yeah, I
go.
was like, what did you just say?
Yeah, no, Khabib. I had to repair that. I had to rinse and
Yeah, you
repair.
did.
Yeah, rinse and repair that. But his hands are actually better than Khabib. But no one's saying he's Khabib. I mean, no.
No, you cannot talk about Khabib if you're not going to bring up wrestling first, because
Right.
it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
Even that guy, Islam, is going to be thinking about Khabib taking him down, and then he's going to get peace in the face. That's the whole point of
that
Khabib's
is the whole
game.
point. But don't you
Yeah.
see, like this match with Dan Hooker? We're picking him as if it's Khabib, right? The same things Khabib would do to Dan to win this match is the same thing Islam Makhachev's going to do.
I think that Dan Hooker is just out of his league. You know, I think it's a terrible matchup. I haven't seen anything from Hooker recently to show that he's going to keep people off of him.
Right.
You know, like it's just a really bad matchup. I think he's making a very bad impulsive decision to take this fight as fast as he can to get that Chandler out of his mind, and he's about to get Islam in his mind.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
Good luck to him.
Yeah, good luck, but we got a job to do, and I think we're both picking the right person. Here's
no
where
offense, though. I feel like Lee and Kazma should probably be above that fight, though.
Yep. Hey, here's where I think the rubber meets the road. This is another good match. It's Corey Sandhagen against Peter Yan. I go first on this one, Rob.
Guy loves this guy.
You know I love me some Corey Sandhagen. I'm just gonna skip. I'm gonna skip the BS, and I'm just gonna pick him. Who you got? You're like shishing. Rob said shishing. Or don't tell me you're picking the same one.
No, I mean, Peter Yan is very clean, man. He's very clean.
Yeah.
But I'd have to say, if Corey Sandhagen can take the same approach that Aljamain Sterling took, which is be first, don't let him unload on you. Be first, even if it's just a little tap. Just be first, and and Peter Yan is a boxer. He really does boxing things where he curls up, he creates this little shell, and he can get pieced up like that. So if Sandhagen can, create that distance and just be first each time, I really believe he has a chance.
Who do you got?
But I'm going to probably go with Peter Yan. Yeah. Haven't seen that game out of Sandhagen.
The real winner is me, because I want to see both of these guys fight Aljamain Sterling again. Sterling's beaten both of them, one albeit via disqualification. And Sandhagen got finished early, but I just think he got caught in the takedown, and before he could even look, Mr. Spider Legs was like, it's like I got both of his arms. Why is there a third arm coming around my neck? Where's this third arm come from? That's how good Jermaine was on the ground, man. Big up to Matt Sarah Longo BJJ. Main event. Jan Blachowicz, the champion, coming off recently, I believe he beat Israel Adesanya in a super fight, is facing the vet, the journeyman turned into title contender all over again, Glover Teixeira. Rob, you got to go first.
Oof, man. I really hope for a good fight, but it looks like this main card is a little bit more bottom heavy than top heavy, to be completely honest. Because I think that Jan is going to absolutely truck through this guy unless, Glover brings out some stuff that, Jan hasn't seen yet. But I was surprised that Jan was able to stay on his feet with Izzy as much as he was. And man, he's a powerful dude. He's gonna hit really hard, and he's quick and fast. He kicks hard. He can take you down. I do not want to fight against Jan Blachowicz. So I'm gonna have to say that Glover is in trouble.
I think Glover's in trouble in the sense that Jan is not winning. There are fighters who actually, they're good in the beginning of their career and they're great their entire career. Like, you bring your attention to Daniel Cormier, there's Demetrius Johnson, there's John Jones, and these are the people who are in the GOAT conversations. George Rush St. Pierre. But then there are guys who kind of like, they lose a couple of fights, but then they figure it out, and then they're just this unstoppable beast, man. Someone had to go with Israel Adesanya. That was his and that was not an easy fight, even though Adesanya was too light to fight and too thin to win in 205. And with that being said, this is one of those fights you don't want to pick. This is one of the fights where like people come back at us and be like, "Why can't you just watch a good fight? Why do you have to pick a winner here?" And God, if there's ever an argument to support that, it's these two guys because we authentically cheer for them. Who doesn't cheer for Glover Teixeira, man? He's such a cool dude. He's such a nice guy, such a good ambassador for the sport, and such a great. He's slick on the ground. So if Jan takes him down, I'm not completely sold. I mean, he might get grounded and pounded, but he needs to watch himself because Glover doesn't have a lot of dexterity, but he's got slick submissions. But I think I sold that as much as I could. I'm going Jan Blachowicz.
As I'm saying, though, if he puts out something
put you
that
through
don't
all that
see
shit.
before, Frank Mir did it for a long time. He just would roll around the ground, get these guys out in like two rounds. He'd be like, "I'm not getting hit."
Honestly, like who thought Frank would submit like Nogueira? I mean, he fought him twice. First time he KO'd him. And you knew Frank had a mean left hand, and Nogueira got hit a lot, so that wasn't a total surprise. But how you submit that guy?
Crazy.
Well, not submit him. He never tapped. He just. Do you remember that one? It was like armbar, and the referee saw the clean pop. I'm like, oh god, ooh man, geez. So all right, so that closes the door on MMA, and now our favorite section. Well, my personal favorite section, ladies and gentlemen. We bring you to shame, or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, let's go here. Let's go there. Let's stop my clock, and let's see if I can actually get this right. Oh, I got it right, Bobby. Rob, all right, to shame or not to shame, okay? The Bears made a decision to start Justin Fields for the rest of the season, and he's gotten a lot of blowback, or the Bears have gotten a lot of blowback, particularly Matt Nagy, about starting this guy, what people say, too early. So is the shame on the Bears for starting this guy too early, or is the shame on the media? No, to shame or not to shame? Is it on the Bears for starting this guy too early? Or for supposedly starting him too early? Go.
Yeah, I mean, what is the options here? If you draft a quarterback number one, or in the first round for your team, he's going to be your future. Their number one guy got hurt. This has happened in history with Tom Brady. This has happened with Steve Young. This has happened when your number one guy goes down, your young gun comes in and plays. That's just what it is. Now, if Andy Dalton comes back, they should have a competition, but nailing, putting him down for the beginning of the season, or not saying that at the beginning of the season, and then putting him in just because of injury and because he played well once, maybe twice, he gets the starting job, the starting nod. I just don't think it's the right move. But if there's no other quarterbacks at that skill level, what are you going to do? The other really problem I think is that the offensive line is horrible. It's absolutely trash. But yet they still don't use his skill set to play that position the right way. Run a little bit more read options, run a little bit more with him, get him out of the pocket a little bit, and he'll have some more success. But then, so I don't think that they're using him correctly. I don't think they're prepared for it. So then I would say it was a bad idea because he can only get hurt at this point or lose experience. So shame.
So me, I got to go no shame, and I'll tell you why. In the history of this game, it's not the first time that you have a quarterback that has taken his lumps the entire first year. I bring your attention to Troy Aikman, the Dallas Cowboys. I think they were like 1-15. Peyton Manning was like 3-13. He was the guy that played every single snap. And these are guys you're worried about protecting them, and at the same time, you want to make sure that that's your guy. Enter Justin Fields. Justin Fields was drafted, I believe, 5th or 6th overall by the Chicago Bears, and you don't draft someone that high and then try to protect him. You need to know if that's your guy, because the draft is coming up next year, and you need to know if it's going to be another guy. Andy Dalton was good enough to actually give me I guess set a criteria and example in the beginning of the season for him, but now it's his time, and it's time to take his lumps. And at some point, he's going to take his lumps. At some years, even when he's more experienced, he's going to have an offensive line that's not going to be able to protect him the same way some years he can. And he needs to learn that now. And I'm glad he's learning that now. It's ridiculous that people are like Hurts, started the end of the season, and this guy started another quarterback because they were protecting Hurts. That's just ridiculous. So I got to go no shame on that one. And that's cool. You got one shame, you got one no shame on that. All right. I like that.
Yeah.
So, Rob, next topic. We are going to quick question. Quick question. There it is. Rob, quick question. Will Kansas City Chiefs make the playoffs? Yes or no?
Yes.
I say no. Quick question. Will the Patriots make the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I say no. Rob's like,
Who's
Jay, there's 7 teams. They allow 7 teams now, Jay. What up?
Wild cards playoff.
Quick question. Which offense is more dangerous, the Cowboys offense or the Bucks? I stole that from First Take.
At the moment, I honestly believe that it's the Bucks. And the reason why is because their offensive line is unbelievably strong.
Yeah.
So you don't get any pressure on Tom Brady, and you have a really strong running game, really good tight ends.
Yeah.
They don't even have all the players there. So I'm gonna have to go with Tom Brady and the Bucks.
I'll go with the Bucks. I mean, you have a huge depth on the wide receiving core and the tight end position. They're 3 deep on the tight end position.
3.
You got Antonio Brown, who revitalized his career. Godwin's having fun out there. Evans wanted some more touches, and now you're giving him more touches. He's scoring more touchdowns. You have the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. It's the Bucks. With respect to the Cowboys.
It is close. Yeah. It is close, but
Cowboys in some stats actually rank higher. It's the only reason why I even presented this. In fact, I got a little camera shot. This is where they rank right now in some important categories: points per game, yards per game. So they're like top 5 in those categories. But
no, that's what I'm saying. It's close. Mm-hmm. But if I were to break it down statistically for the ESPN or whatever, I would go back and look at when those points are put up. Because for me, the Cowboys love to put up points when they're behind, when they need to put up big points, or when they're way ahead, but the Bucks do it when it matters, right? Another team scores, they come back, score right away, right? First drive of the game, they come out, score right away. First drive in the second half, they come out, score right away. Those to me mean more as an offense, your efficiency, your ability to execute when you want to execute, as opposed to, wide receivers wide open again, hit them. It happens. What happens when the playoffs comes and no one's wide open? So
I like that.
That's a difference.
Make ours Bucks, and I like that. Me and you on the same one.
Yes.
Quick question: do you like Joe Burrow more than Lamar Jackson finishing out the rest of the season?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a quick yes. That's a quick question. That's a quick yes on both of our parts. Quick question. This might be a loaded question, but it might be short. Is Mahomes more responsible for KC's woes or Andy Reid?
Oh my gosh, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes.
I gotta go Mahomes because they're the first one to give him credit. Look, he doesn't have Aaron Rodgers immunity, right? Aaron Rodgers, we talk about his greatness until he loses, and it's someone else's fault. I don't like that.
Be honest. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is just he's like the next coming of Dan Marino, like the greatest regular season quarterback. You know what I mean?
Yep. Except he's got a chip.
Oh no, he's got a chip for sure. But,
poor Marino. Oh, I wish. Don't you wish Marino had one? Wouldn't it be nice if he just had one? He's a better quarterback than Manning and a lot of those
guys. Would you rather have a perfect season or would you rather have a Super Bowl?
Just ask. Coming from a Giants fan. Yeah.
You'll
make that pick twice.
they said that they wanted they would rather have a Super Bowl that season than a perfect season.
Yeah, of course.
Which is trash. I disagree with that 1,000%. There's been 2 teams in the entire NFL history who's been
only
undefeated.
One. Only one.
I thought it was the Bears. I thought the Bears did it as well.
No, in the Super Bowl era, it's only been the Miami Dolphins. The Bears, I think. So, the Bears and the Browns, I think, had an undefeated one before the Super Bowl era. But Dolphins, just Dolphins so far. They pop open the champagne when the last team loses. Like Thursday, if Arizona loses, they have a champagne party. All of the guys who are still alive. All right, quick question, Ja. Who do you like better for Ja or LaMelo?
I'm gonna go with Ja.
For real, man. God, LaMelo's for real.
I like LaMelo, but again, he seems like he's playing out there on an island.
Yeah.
For as skillful as he is, he doesn't involve. As much points he put up, he doesn't involve player. Ja literally plays the point guard position, and they force him to play off ball.
No,
Do you know what I
no
mean?
doubt.
So it's just,
No
I
doubt.
think he's more of a real, together, mature basketball player.
Got
you
it.
know?
I go Ja on that one too. All right. Quick question: who is the best quarterback in the NFL right now? Give me one.
Tommy.
Yeah, I go Tom Brady. Um, quick question: who is the best NBA big man right now? The current one. I'll go first. I'll go Greek freak.
Yeah, go ahead. All right, yeah, I'll go Joel Embiid.
Yep. Cool. Durant should be mentioned in there too, even though that's not his position.
It's
but-
hard, yeah.
right.
He's playing the flourish, but
Quick question. Who's the best current Major League Baseball player? I'll go first. I'm biased. I'm a prisoner of the moment. I gotta go Judge. He changes the room temperature
my
every
gosh,
every game.
stop that.
Every game that guy goes
Stop
to, you pay
that.
attention to him.
Oh my gosh, no! I'm a New York Yankee fan, and you just tripping, bro. I'm gonna have to
Then who?
say Shohei Ohtani.
Okay.
You know, the Cy Young / 45 home runs in the year, or Mike Trout, who was injured this season, or Fernando Tatis, who's an unbelievable young player.
Yeah.
Definitely not Aaron Judge. Sorry.
Quick question. Who do you think is the current pound for pound MMA fighter? The top the current, not the GOAT, not the greatest of all time. I'll go first. I'll go Amanda Nunes. The whole time we're looking for the best man for the job. In this case, the best man's a woman.
Touche.
Look at her lineup of fighters, man. Two division champs, and no one's only Shevchenko's come close.
I mean, it's so unfair to say heavyweight being pound for pound, because who the heck is gonna,
Who do you got?
I mean, Nagano's right there. 'Cause
Baddest
he
man
looked
on the planet. Okay.
dangerous that last. I mean, I have never seen a man that big move that fast against what's his name?
Yeah.
No, I can't remember. Stipe.
Yep. Yeah.
I was like, that's scary, man.
What's scary is that
Scary.
Stipe tagged him, and then when Stipe thought he had him hurt, and when he came in, he got.
It literally looked like a
Put the
light
kibosh
heavyweight
on
fighting a heavyweight.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
That
like,
dude definitely
you gonna
cuts
touch
down.
me? I'm gonna
You know he
touch
cuts
you,
down.
And you're gonna go down.
He cuts
Of
down.
course.
Oh my
Of course.
God, y'all.
Of course.
Scary.
252 right now.
I mean, look, if I'm talking about the baddest man on the planet, I would say Francis Ngannou. But if I'm looking for pound best, Amanda Nunes, just very much like Bakovic. She had some losses and some of her wins look like a loss, but she somewhere in the middle she figured it out. Now she's this unstoppable force, man. And if you look at her lineup of fighters, man, oh my God, I mean, Ngannou had already lost to Stipe, and he had already lost to Derek Lewis in a match where the fans lost. And he's not. He doesn't seem like the guy who wants to fight for unless it's for more money. But that's a whole other topic. But I like Amanda. But I like Amanda Nunes because I think a lot of people ignore her in that GOAT conversation because she's a woman.
Totally.
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 All right. So before we go, we're actually gonna cut this under an hour. I love it. Before we go, big shout out to Tom Brady. Big shout out to Mike Evans. Big shout out to the staff that works on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady had his 600 touchdown, and Mike Evans gave it to one of the fans because he didn't realize the count, and they negotiated the ball back from the fans. And in exchange, he got a shitload of merchandise. He got autographed jerseys by Mike Evans and Tom Brady, and he also got season tickets for 2 people for the rest of the year and all of 2022. So Tom Brady said, look, we'd like the ball and we'll make it worth your while. And sometimes you say that. Sometimes you just give someone like a free drink card or, hey, an extra hot dog or extra toy with your Happy Meal or something. No, these dudes went buck wild, and they went so buck wild, it made me question, because Tom Brady's not into those accolades thing. And this is the one time he actually wanted something. So you got to give the guy what he wants. So,
he's the only person in NFL history with 600. I mean, that's it. Perfect season, 600.
Yeah.
Only a couple.
And that's my shout out. It's my shout out to the end. We did a celebrity shout out instead of a local boy shout out. But my boyfriend's back bigger than before. Is there anything you'd like to say to our general population and our followers who have been supporting this podcast? 15,000 strong.
Stay happy. Stay healthy, y'all.
Stay happy. Stay healthy, says Rob McLean. Rob McLean might love you guys, but me, I'm just not in the mood. I don't like you guys. In fact, I can't stand you. In fact, we're out of here, all right? So for all of you at home, for all of you on the lunch line at Starbucks, for all of you on your iPad, Droid, or desktop, for my boy Rob, Keep it McLean. This is episode 75 of Sports Debate Tuesday. I am Jason DeBeas, and we're out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionDB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.